All right, guys, this is a new unit. This is called our constructions unit, and we are going to use some tools of geometry. So what is a construction? A construction is a geometric drawing that uses a limited set of tools, usually a straight edge, which you guys probably know to be like a ruler, okay? But really, it's not supposed to have any markings on it. It's not supposed to have centimeters or inches where you can see a measure. So you just really want it to be blank, but we're going to use a ruler for a straight edge. And then a compass, okay? So most of you should have your compass by now. In fact, all of y'all should. If you don't, you need to go hopefully today to get one. You can use a compass and a straight edge to construct a segment that is congruent to a given segment and an angle that is congruent to a given angle, okay? There's one thing that I want to show you though, since I can't really show you how to hold the compass. I found this video, it's really short, and you have the capabilities to see how he's holding the compass and how you should work with it, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and play this video and then I'll get to the notes. All right. So be able to hold your compass the way he was showing you. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to be able to copy a segment, okay? And it says there's these following steps that you can use to construct a segment that is congruent to this one. So here you have segment AB, okay? So AB is right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy that exactly. I know some of y'all are thinking, why can't I just measure it in centimeters or inches? Because when you measure these, sometimes it's not a perfect measure, okay? Sometimes it ends up being between two tick marks. So constructions are perfectly going to be matched up. So I'm going to read through the 4 steps and then or the 3 steps, and then we're going to practice it on some examples. So it says use a straight edge to draw the segment longer than AB. So you can see that that's what they did right here. Got the ruler and drew this segment longer. So remember, everything's with a straight edge and a compass. Okay, so you do that first, and then it says label point C. And then it says set your compass at the length of AB. So you put your needle point of the compass on one end, and then you measure and see how big AB is. And then you can make that red arc if you want, but you really don't need to. Okay, and then the last step is simply just to place your compass at C, and then you for sure want to make this red arc right here. Okay, and so where that arc is, that is an identical match to having this segment, and you can label it D. I believe it says right there, label it D. And so CD would be congruent to AB. And that's it. It's a pretty simple step, okay? So right here it says construct a segment congruent to AB. So your first step is to draw a line that is longer than AB, okay? Yes, it needs to be longer. I know sometimes we want to make it exactly the same size, but that's not what this is. This is not how you do this. So you want to measure exactly how big AB is. And so put your compass, put your needle point over on A or B, it doesn't matter. I'm putting mine on A. And then you get your compass and you measure exactly how big that is, okay? So earlier over here, it said to make a point right here at the end. And so we can call that C. We'll just use the same letters that they used. And then over here, you want to place your compass on C. And then all you want to do now is make an arc right there, okay? Doesn't have to be real big. I know some of y'all are going to want to make a full circle, okay? Don't do that. Just make a small arc like that, kind of the way that video showed you, okay? And then what we'll do is we'll label this point right here D. And so what we have here is we have segment AB, and it's congruent to CD. Okay, so those two segments are identical in size, and no, you should not measure with the centimeters. In order to get this right, you have to show this arc right here. Okay, so we grade constructions by arcs. All right. Okay, so let's try some examples in which entail copying a segment. So over here on the left, example 2, it says, given the segments A, B, C, D, E, F, construct the following. So I'm going to construct a segment congruent to CD. Okay, so remember your first step is to draw a segment longer than CD. Then take your compass and place it on C or D and get the actual width of that segment that we want to copy. So place your compass like that and get the exact width. Okay, so then I got my width. So now I want to come over here. Okay, let's call this point, let's make up some new letters because we have A, B, C, D, E, F. Let's call this one G. Okay, so that's going to be G. And now remember, I measured this perfectly. So now I want to come over here and place my compass on G. And then I want to make an arc like that. Okay, and so then now I want to label this point right here H. So now I just made a segment GH that is congruent to CD. So CD is congruent to GH. All right, let's try number 3 now. So number 3, it says something a little bit different. It says make a segment that is congruent to AB plus EF. So AB plus EF. So the first thing I want to do is draw a long line. Okay, so I drew it extra long because I'm combining two segments. Now I'm going to come over here and place it on AB first. And it doesn't matter which one you do first, but I'm going to do AB first. Measure exactly how big it is. And come over here to our endpoint. I forgot to label it. Let's label this one. Let's label this one J. And then place it on J. And make an arc. So that's as big as AB. Okay, so now I want to add on EF. So place it on E, extend your compass so that it's exactly the width of EF. All right, so we got it. Now place it on the end that we have so far, which is the point where the arc is. So place it right exactly on that arc and then make one more arc. Okay, and so this is the other point that you would want to label. And we'll call that one K. So what we just did there is we made a segment that is congruent to AB plus EF, and we're calling it JK. We should definitely probably, I guess, put segments on top of that. All right, let's try one more. It says number 4 says 2CD minus AB. 2CD minus AB. So I want to make a segment that is equivalent to that. So the first thing I want to do is make a long line. So get your straight edge, make a long line. Okay, so here's going to be my endpoint, and we're going to call that L. All right, so that's point L. So I need 2 CD. So I want to go get my compass and find the measure exactly of how big CD is. And there it is. Okay, so now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to place my compass on L. And then I'm going to make it arc. That's 1 CD. Now it said 2 CD. So you're going to add that on there. So see, that's as big as 2 CD. But then it says minus AB. So I want to go back and take away from that 2 CD. So I measured that. So now I'm going to come over here and place it on the end of this. And now I want to go backwards. Now some people may come over here and place it on this point, okay? But we already labeled that one L, so we have to place it on the opposite end. So if you hadn't labeled that L, you could do it this way too. But we are going to just put it on this end. Okay, so place your compass exactly on that arc. Make another one going backwards. So that is where we want that segment to be. So this one we'll call M. So 2 CD minus AB is congruent to LM. Okay, so from there to there. So I can highlight that if it gets a little confusing to you. So from here to there, that's the segment that is equivalent to 2 CD minus AB. Now, when people first start doing constructions, they want to erase all the leftover stuff. Okay, so like for instance, they want to erase these leftover, segments down here. They want to erase that. They want to erase that, and maybe even erase the arcs. Here's the deal. You do not erase a single thing. Okay, so I'm going to write a little side note over here, as you should too. Okay, do not erase. Okay, the only time really you want to erase is if you feel you just completely did the construction wrong. Okay, and then you want to start over. But all of those leftover markings, the lines being extra long, that doesn't matter because you labeled the endpoints on what you want to use. Okay. All right, so that's copying a segment, and that's pretty easy. Okay, let's try something different. Let's try bisecting a segment. Okay, remember you learned what bisect means. Okay, so bisecting means to cut something in half. So it says bisect a segment or find the midpoint. Okay, so we're going to find the midpoint of these segments. And so this is 3 simple steps. So you can see it says place the compass at A and use a compass setting that is greater than half the length. So you can see it went about 3/4 of the way. And then they made a big arc. It says draw an arc. Now, using that same compass setting, I'm just reading now into step 2. So using the same compass setting, it says place the compass now on B. And then it says draw an arc, okay? And draw it so that they will intersect, okay? It says it should intersect the other 2 points, okay? And then lastly, over here, it says get the ruler, draw a segment through the 2 points, okay? Now, I really prefer you to not draw the segment. Really, you just need to draw that point right there because all we care about is that midpoint right there, okay? So we'll draw a segment later on. All right, so let's practice that. Okay, so we're going to practice, it says construct the midpoint and label its B. All right, so we want to place our compass, okay, on B or A. It doesn't matter which one you start with because you're going to do both. And it says make your compass more than halfway. So I'm going to go to about right there. All right, and then now I want to draw an arc. Okay, and it's okay if it goes into the other words. Okay, now without changing your compass setting, now go place it on A. Remember, hold the compass the way I showed I think it was Max, or I forgot his name already, but the way he showed you how to hold the compass. Okay, so once you do that, now you want to use your ruler and you want to line up those two intersections like that. So when you line up those two intersections, then this is all what we care about right there. That's the point right there that we need to label C. And that's it. So we're looking for those two arcs that you are drawing. Okay. All right, so try this, pause the video and try the next one. It says bisect the given segment. So pause the video and you try it on your own before I do it. So don't forget, you want to go more than halfway. You really don't want the compass to be the full length of the segment because then the arcs just get really large. So it's always good to just go about more than halfway. Okay, and then without changing your compass setting, come over here on the other endpoint and then make that arc right there. And so now you just have to use your ruler to line up the two intersection points. There we go. And remember, all you need is that point right there, okay? And that's the bisector of the segment. So you bisected that in half. So this side right here from there to there should be identical from there to there, okay? So you just found the midpoint. All right, let's take a look at the last one. And this one says, divide the following segment into 4 congruent parts. Okay, well, there's something that I just taught you already, and that's how to divide the segment into 2 equal parts. So let's at least do that first. So you want your compass to be more than halfway. And then you want to make a big arc. Then without changing your compass setting, go place your compass on the other endpoint and go make that same arc. And you have to make sure that they both intersect. Okay, so what I just did here is I cut this one in half. Okay, so now you get your pencil and then make an arc. So that red arc that I just, or that red point that I just made, I cut it in half, okay? So I have 2 equal parts. I need 4 equal parts. So if you think, well, what if I cut this one in half, which is about right here or so. So then there's 1, 2, and then I've cut this in half. There we go, 3, 4, okay? But you don't want to just sketch it like that. So we want to actually construct it, okay? So in order to get this midpoint right here, what we want to do is do the same process that we just did. So let's place our compass on this endpoint over here, or you could place it on the midpoint. And then you want your compass to go more than halfway. Okay, so remember the midpoint, let's label it M so we don't forget where it's at. So that's M. And so now I want to make an arc there. And then I want to come over to M. Now, let me tell you, I have a lot of kids that make the mistake of putting it on this arc for some reason. Remember, you're finding the midpoint of the end over here to the center. Okay, and there we go. So you want to line your ruler up. Okay, and you can see it was really close. I probably should have made my compass a little bit larger, but that's fine. So right there, we'll call that one L. So that red point is the midpoint there. So now I just need one more thing, and that is to make one more arc, okay? And so there's two ways you can do this. Some people will probably say, oh, well, you just do the same thing, like those two green arcs, you do that over here again, okay? True, that is an option, but let me show you a different option. Remember, this part right here should be identical to this one over here on the other end. So you could actually place your compass here and make that arc like that, okay? Or you could have placed it on this end and then made that arc, okay? Or you could have done those two green arcs again over here on this end, okay? So this is L, M, and we'll just call that one N. Okay, so now look, I have 4 congruent parts. I'm going to use my highlighter to show you. Here's one part. Here's the other part. Here's another one. And here's the last part. Okay, so those 4 pieces are congruent parts. You divided that big segment into 4 congruent parts. And that's it for our first set of constructions.